Joshua and Stacy Hunsucker appeared to have the perfect life, married for 8 years with 2 children and a bright future ahead. Then suddenly, on September 23, 2018, Joshua found Stacy unresponsive and turning blue. She was rushed to the hospital, but tragically, it was too late. Stacy had passed away. However, Stacy's mother, Suzie Robinson, suspected foul play, prompting an investigation. It was later discovered that Stacy had been poisoned with tetrahydrozoline, a chemical commonly found in eye drops. Joshua was arrested, but managed to post a $1.5 million bond. Then, one of his daughters ended up in hospital, and the same chemical was found in her urine. Joshua claimed that Stacy's parents had poisoned both his daughter and Stacy. But could he be telling the truth? Or was Joshua responsible for both crimes? Let's get into it. Stacy Robinson Hunsucker was born on May 7, 1986, in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, to parents John and Suzie Robinson. She had 2 siblings, a brother named Eric and a sister named Amy. Stacy graduated from East Gaston High School and earned her associate's degree in paralegal sciences from Gaston College. She was a lifelong member of Mount Holly First United Methodist Church, where she actively participated in various groups and activities. Stacy had a diverse work history. She was employed at the preschool at First Baptist Charlotte and was a former teacher at First Methodist Preschool in Mount Holly. Additionally, she worked as a paralegal at Ted Grieve and Associates, as well as at Reagan and Reagan. She also dedicated many years of service to the Stowe YMCA. Stacy met Joshua Lee Hunsucker during their high school years, and the two began dating. The couple eventually married in 2010, settling down in Mount Holly, North Carolina. Joshua was the lead paramedic at Atrium Health Med Center Air starting in 2013. In February of that same year, Stacy experienced medical complications during the delivery of their first child. Just 5 months later, a fire devastated their home, destroying most of their belongings. In October 2014, Stacy faced further complications during the birth of the couple's second child. A month later, she was admitted to the hospital with a low heart rate and low blood pressure. While in the hospital, Stacy went into cardiac arrest. Fortunately, she survived, but in February 2015, she underwent surgery to receive a pacemaker. Despite these significant challenges, Stacy remained a positive and loving figure in her community. On September 23, 2018, Joshua claimed to have found Stacy unresponsive, not breathing, and turning blue. She was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately it was too late and Stacy had tragically passed away. Her death was initially attributed to her ongoing heart problems, and the cause of death was listed as natural causes. Joshua refused to allow an autopsy, citing his desire to avoid having Stacy's body cut up, even though she was listed as an organ donor. This decision raised suspicions, especially when it was revealed that Joshua collected $250,000 in life insurance just 2 days after Stacy's death. Stacy's mother, Suzie Robinson, became increasingly suspicious of Joshua, particularly after learning about an alleged relationship Joshua was having before her daughter's death. Special agents with the North Carolina Department of Insurance began investigating Joshua after Suzie made allegations of insurance fraud following the suspicious circumstances surrounding her daughter's death. Investigators discovered that since Stacy was listed as an organ donor, a blood sample had been taken by the Organ Donation Center. Tests on her blood produced shocking results. Stacy's blood contained extremely high levels of tetrahydrozoline, a chemical commonly found in over-the-counter eye drops like Vicine. The levels were 30 to 40 times higher than the therapeutic level, which would have caused cardiac arrest if ingested. About 2 weeks before Stacy Hunsucker's death, a similar incident occurred in York, South Carolina, where a nurse had put eye drops in her husband's water, causing a seizure and cardiac arrest. The nurse's arrest received widespread news coverage in the Charlotte area.
A South Carolina woman has been charged with killing her husband by poisoning him with eye drops. Officials say Lana Clayton confessed to putting eye drops in her husband's food and water for several days. The 64-year-old was found dead in their home.
According to a court filing, before Stacy's death, Joshua had told 2 former co-workers that if he ever killed someone, he would do so using Vicine or other eye drops. Given Joshua's medical training and access to various substances through his work as a paramedic, the evidence strongly pointed to foul play. Investigators uncovered multiple inconsistent statements from Joshua about his whereabouts at the time of Stacy's death, further deepening their suspicions. According to investigators, Joshua's co-workers at Atrium Health's Med Center Air, where he had served as a lead paramedic since 2013, were also surprised by how unaffected he seemed by his wife's death. They were shocked by how quickly he began a new relationship, less than 6 months after Stacy's death, and allowed the new girlfriend to move into the home he had previously shared with Stacy, according to an affidavit. Joshua allegedly provided different versions of where he was before he found Stacy slumped over the side of a couch at their home. To a friend, he said he had gone out for a walk and found her unresponsive when he returned home. To Stacy's mother, Suzie Robinson, he claimed he was working on his computer in the kitchen with his back to Stacy, and when he turned around, he noticed her slumped over on the couch. In December 2019, Joshua was charged with first-degree murder, insurance fraud, and obtaining property worth $100,000 by false pretenses.
He saved dozens of lives as a paramedic. Now prosecutors say he murdered his wife by poisoning her with Visine. Joshua Hunsucker and his wife Stacy were high school sweethearts, raising 2 adorable daughters aged 5 and 6. Stacy died in September last year from what appeared to be a heart attack. But in a stunning development, her 35-year-old husband has just been charged with murder.
He was held on a $1.5 million bond, but was able to post bail and was released on Christmas Eve. He was ordered to wear a GPS monitor and abide by a curfew. The charge of insurance fraud stemmed from the allegation that Joshua submitted false or misleading information to the insurance company, claiming Stacy Hunsucker's cause of death was due to myocardial infarction, when, in fact, it was due to homicide by poisoning. Just a month prior to his arrest for Stacy's murder, Joshua was accused of setting fire to medical equipment inside a Med Center air helicopter while it was in flight, forcing an emergency landing. This incident raised further concerns about Joshua's mental state and behavior.
New charges for a Mount Holly father accused of killing his wife by poisoning her drinks with eye drops. Investigators accuse Joshua Hunsucker of setting fire to a piece of equipment while inside a Med Center helicopter.
Meanwhile, the investigation into Stacy's death continued to unearth disturbing details. The preserved blood sample that initially led to Joshua's arrest became a crucial piece of evidence in the prosecution's case. Prosecutors argued that the extremely high levels of tetrahydrozoline found in Stacy's system were irrefutable evidence of poisoning. They contended that Joshua, with his medical knowledge, had intentionally administered the substance to kill his wife and collect the life insurance money. As the trial for Stacy's murder approached, Joshua's behavior became increasingly alarming. In early 2023, he was accused of filing a false police report. Joshua claimed that he had stopped to change a flat tire when he was pistol-whipped multiple times in the head. He further alleged that his hands were zip-tied and he was injected with an unknown substance. During a search of his vehicle, police discovered an orange and black bag in the bed of his truck. Inside the bag, they found a drug used to treat major depressive disorder in adults. Joshua claimed that the person who had assaulted and kidnapped him was Stacy's father, John Robinson. However, an investigation by the Mount Holly Police Department found no evidence to support Joshua's claims. Officers concluded that Joshua had not been kidnapped or assaulted, and that his report was an attempt to shift blame onto John Robinson for Stacy's death. Just 3 weeks later, in addition to the false kidnapping report, Joshua was accused of attempting to poison one of his daughters. He stands accused of orchestrating a sinister plot that nearly claimed the life of his then 10-year-old daughter just over a year after allegedly killing his wife in a similarly horrific manner. Prosecutors contended that this was another attempt to frame the Robinsons and eliminate them from his daughter's lives. According to court documents, Joshua allegedly laced his daughter's drink with eye drops, the same substance that he allegedly used to kill his wife in 2018. The toxic compound was later discovered in the child's urine sample, serving as a critical piece of evidence pointing to this heinous act. The situation grew more horrifying as investigators uncovered a second substance in the young girl's system, a potent antidepressant not approved for children, which had no legitimate reason to be in her bloodstream. This was the same drug found in Joshua's vehicle, further suggesting premeditation and calculated cruelty. The young girl suffered from a range of alarming symptoms: dangerously low blood pressure, a slowing heart rate, overwhelming exhaustion, and constricted blood vessels, leading to a temporary alteration of consciousness, all indicative of deliberate poisoning. The severity of her condition necessitated hospitalization and treatment at 2 different hospitals. The fact that Joshua allegedly used the same substance that killed Stacy to poison his daughter only strengthened the prosecution's case against him. Throughout this ordeal, Stacy's parents, John and Suzie Robinson, endured continuous harassment and intimidation by Joshua. Court documents detailed numerous instances where Joshua drove by their home, followed them in public, and made obscene gestures toward them. He also sent them packages demanding they drop the charges against him and was seen videotaping and photographing them during these encounters. These actions caused immense emotional distress for the Robinsons and raised serious concerns about the safety of Stacy's daughters, who were often present during these incidents. In July 2024, the Gaston County District Court held a hearing to determine the custody status of Joshua's daughters. The court found that the child who had been hospitalized with symptoms of poisoning had been abused and neglected, and that the other daughter had also been neglected. As a result, the court took control over the children's care and granted significantly more unsupervised visitation to John and Suzie Robinson, who were fighting to protect their grandchildren from further harm. The prosecution expressed concern for the safety of the girls, as well as the Robinsons, and indicated their belief that Joshua's dangerous behavior would continue to escalate. On August 6, 2024, Joshua was booked at the Gaston County Detention Center and issued a $1.5 million bond. A motion by prosecutors to revoke his bond will be addressed in a court hearing scheduled for October 7th. Until then, he will remain in Gaston County Jail. To think that Stacy Hunsucker was killed in 2018 and the case is still ongoing, it's hard to imagine what her parents must have endured over these past 6 years, not only dealing with the loss of their beloved daughter, but also facing harassment from her alleged killer. After all of that, a trial date has not even been set. We can't help but feel deep sympathy and compassion for John and Suzie Robinson, not only for what they've already endured, but also for the difficult period they will face when the trial finally begins. The Robinsons addressed their late daughter in a statement shared with a journalist shortly after Joshua Hunsucker's arrest. "Stacy, your mother and father promise you that we will not rest until justice is served. We will do everything in our power to support and care for your beautiful daughters. We will love them as we loved and still love you. We will never let your children forget what a truly amazing mother you were to them. Your spirit and your smile live on through them every day."